and I trust him. And I'm going to record this meeting so he can review it later.
We'll be more than happy to listen to or have him listen to us. By the way, have you noticed something at all?
We've got a different
Happened with
background.
the last 4 shows we've done.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Well, the background's different.
No, the echo, the words that the way that they have it set up, where it feeds back into. They fixed it on Facebook.
Whoa, that's fabulous.
Yeah, now when you punch this, you come up with a whole different and new interface with Facebook, and it automatically mutes.
So it took all the Facebook users in the world and in the universe 7 years to come up with that mute.
Well, they've only been live, to be fair, Michael, which sometimes we try to be.
Maybe tomorrow. Can we be fair tomorrow?
Oh, God, knock yourself out. Have fun. By the way, he's Michael Knight, and he is in the beautiful city of Los Angeles, California.
And to be fair, I have to tell you, that's New York Vinnie. He's my pal who's in Seattle, Washington today, and the Mariners are doing well.
Well, we're exciting game yesterday. By the way, we are longtime friends and radio hosts. We've worked together now how many years? Since 1985, right?
So when he says go ahead and knock yourself out, that means just go ahead.
Yes, the Mariners, an exciting game yesterday. They snatched a victory from the jaws of defeat, man. I mean, one of those games where you look and you say, okay, let's bring on the Phillies.
Yeah.
I mean, really, right now, that's all you could do. I know people are getting excited around town, and then just as fast as they were excited, by last Wednesday, they were completely unexcited.
Well, I think you have to remember, and I say this to Mariner fans with all the love that this comment requires. I checked the mailing device, and the Mariners season went to Cincinnati by accident this year. Well, nobody knew that they didn't check the paperwork. They signed for it. It was done. And so Cincinnati's going to have to play the Mariners season for a little while longer, and then they're going to fix it and get the Mariners back online with their own season and their own results.
Okay, so now here's my question.
Yes.
Okay. So the Cincinnati Reds took, what is this, May 9th. So the Cincinnati Reds took 2 months to win 2 games, right?
But they were trying every day.
Right.
Like you can't believe.
Over the weekend, they took 2 from the Pirates.
And that works out. That works out beautifully in anybody's
What in
book.
the world is that? Who's worse? The Pirates, even though they have more wins, or the Reds because they beat the Pirates 2 out of 3?
You know whose fault that is, and I can tell you it's the Pirates' own damn fault. I had tickets to a doubleheader, the only doubleheader I ever went to at Candlestick Park, a daytime doubleheader. Pirates come to town. They beat us 2 in a row. So it's not my fault. The Pirates got away with that one. And I had to sit there with a keg in our booth for the whole 18 innings. And the funny thing was, the Giants never ever looked in 18 innings like not that they weren't going to win, but they were even going to come up with a rally. They just had that. We can't figure it out. How are we supposed to hit the ball if he throws it that fast?
Do you have any idea who was pitching that day?
I saw most everybody. After the Giants lose 2 to Pittsburgh in a doubleheader, you see them all, including Jim Duffalo.
Yeah. Well, I remember going to a Giants doubleheader in 1964 that the second game won 23 innings.
God.
I mean, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. They were playing baseball at Shea Stadium.
And the sun was going to come up if they didn't come up with something.
Somebody had to send out for coffee and sandwiches or something, man. I
think that was, well, unfortunately, in New York, the places are open. You can always send out.
You can always send out, and there's always going to be a guy that's going to come on a box cycle that's going to deliver it. You had to think that, I can't remember the trainer then. What was his name? Sam. Sam something. Gus March. Gus March was the trainer. And I only can imagine that he was handing out the the diet pills in the clubhouse.
And will I stay awake? Yes, as a matter of fact, you will stay awake. I can't.
you'll
I
be
can't
awake.
guarantee anything.
Yeah, you'll be awake here. You'll be awake when you get to the Travelers Hotel, the official hotel of the New York Mets. You'll be awake when, you'll just be awake. You'll
Now, if you can play ball, that's another thing. All I can guarantee is that you'll be awake. The rest is up to you.
Yeah, and try to remember not to swing at the ball until at least it leaves the pitcher's hand. I know you're going to be a little anxious here.
Life in Queens seems to be going much faster than it really is.
Be forewarned.
Objects in the stadium appear larger than in real life. And here comes another one.
Got home to White Plains, and he's 4:00 in the morning. He's in there with the vacuum. Honey, what are you doing? Oh, it's okay. I'm cleaning the house. And next up, I'm going, what do you need from the store, honey? I'm going to EJ Corvettes.
And then Piggly Wiggly.
No Piggly Wiggly in New York, pal.
Winn-Dixie.
Not even close. The crap in New York.
Pavilions.
Maybe now. I don't know. No, we had. Let's see. We had Bohack at that time.
At that time.
At that time.
At the time, the methamphetamine was handed out to the team.
Right. You had Bohack. You had ShopRite. You had A&P. You had Waldbaum's.
That's what I was trying to think of. A&P.
Whereas my mother used to shop at Waldbaum's all the time. You had Food Fair. King Cullen, Dan Supreme, Key Food, which is where my grandmother used to shop from because they delivered. And I'm trying to think, there's another chain I'm missing. And then Gristides.
Yeah.
Which was totally in Manhattan, and D'Agostino, which was totally in Manhattan. Or it might have had a couple in the Bronx.
The greatest addition to that list, and it's a deli, sort of a sell everything sort of thing. It was called the Gourmet Garage. I don't know if it's still in New York anymore, but there was 4 or 5 of them, and it was like a super deli. It was like a hip deli, a Trader Joe's deli.
Yeah.
They had great dinners to go, and a lot of things you need to whip stuff up around the house. You need a good olive oil. You didn't want to run all the way downtown. Gourmet Garage was the place. Now I don't know if they still have them, but I thought, one, it was a great name. And 2, it was a great niche because you could, if you're hungry and you don't want to go to a restaurant and you don't want to get Chinese again, you can just duck in there and get baked ziti.
We used to have a place. I don't know. It's still going because I've seen them when I've gone back to Manhattan a couple of times. I don't know if they're still going after the. But there was a chain of delis called Smilers. And Smilers was one of those places. They had everything. They were open 24/7.
There you go.
You could go in there anytime, 365, 24/7. They were open. If you needed, now they didn't have Christmas gifts, but if you needed to put a Christmas dinner together, like, on Christmas morning, you could get out to Smilers and get a roast turkey and get whatever you needed.
By the way, I'm still mad at it. Not mad, but I'm still hungry from last night's Anthony Tucci show. He went to Italy. Did you see that?
I did not see it yet. It's.
I won't spoil it for you. He went to Torino, Piedmonte.
Yeah, I watched that show, and I got to go out and eat.
I know you're starving,
but I got to go to Italy and eat. I actually, I know this is great. I actually checked into my. I was talking to somebody about the possibility, if the crap really hits the fan here, of okay, where do we go?
Right.
And I have a right of hereditary citizenship in Italy because my grandfather.
Well, you're gonna have to adopt me then.
Came from Italy, and so I've actually looked at, well, how do you make this happen? What do you got? Do I just send my birth certificate to, and it's a process.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And I'll bet a lot of people are doing it. You start to wonder if this country gets a little crazy, if there's going to be like a reverse migration. All these people, like grandfathers and fathers, came here in the early 20th century, are now heading back because they have it nailed in Italy. I mean, they have a lifestyle that is just so different.
You know, it occurred to me, we talked about that last, I guess it was Friday.
Yeah.
And the reason why dawned on me last night watching the Anthony and Tucci show. It's 1869 and Italy is still not a country. It's a series of duchies and kingdoms. One in the north is run by Austria. One in the south is run by Spain. They don't even have the full country to themselves. They unite under the leadership of a guy in Torino. And 1869 it took for Italy to be a country.
Yeah.
And so they said, look, we didn't need government to be here who we were. We had the Romans. That was a good idea. They left some roads. We appreciate that. But we figured out how to live without a ruling government. And it was a little Dutch area. So all the beautiful different sceneries that you encounter, and different food that you encounter, and different accents encounter, and different people, and different views on life, and different emotions, and different elements of their personality. Say, I'm from the north, I'm from the south, I'm from here, I'm from there, and they all are proud of what they're famous for, and they all eat pasta. And it's just it's a country without a government in a way, and that's what makes it so successful as a wonderful place to live and to embrace life.
There's an old I don't know if you remember the comedian Pat Cooper.
Yeah,
he made his living out of doing Italian jokes.
He claimed to be Italian, but with a name like that, how can you believe him?
Yeah, I think his mother was Italian or something. I don't know. I don't know how that all worked out. Well, I think his real name was Italian. I have to look and see, but
he was Dino Danelli's cousin.
Yeah, Dino Danelli's cousin. Anyway, he used to do a joke that I remember to this day, and it was so true. So you bring the girl home to meet your mom, and your mom's from the other side. And so the first question she asks, she looks at her and she goes, well, "What the part of Italy you from?"
Yeah.
And that because the South don't mix with the North don't mix with the South. The Romans are in their own little place there.
What do you do in the middle where they meet? What's in the middle? So it's got to be interesting there.
Well, I mean, they meet, but they don't trust each other. The South is poor. The biggest indicator, food-wise, is that when you look at Southern Italy cooking, it's all made with tomatoes. Everything's tomato sauce.
Because we have some tomatoes over
tomato
here.
Gravy, because that's about what we can grow here. When you go up north, now you got beef. Now you got better herbs and stuff like that, because the growing area is better the more north you get. And so the food changes. There's restaurants in New York that advertise Southern Italy cooking, Northern Italy cooking.
Yes.
The Northern Italians are much more aristocratic. They look down on the Southern Italians.
The money was in the north.
Right. And of course, Sicily is a whole different story.
Well, what is Venice considered? Because Venice was an old influential port for hundreds and hundreds of years. Is that middle or is that south?
I'm not sure, Mikey. I would think that Venice is considered Northern Italy.
Sort of its own thing.
Yeah, because it's such an international city.
And like Turin, it was a power center.
Yeah. Turin was a power center. That's where was industry up there. Once you get up close to Germany, to France, the Alps, all of that, Monaco, all that curve that's on that side of the Mediterranean. And then, of course, you have Varese, and there's a lot of Greek people that went from Greece to Bari. So the Bari, there's a lot of people in Italy don't like them because they're not pure Italians.
Or they were talking how funny it is to live in Piedmont and be able to speak Italian and French. Yeah. And the idea is, well, you speak French, what kind of an Italian can you be? I'm a Northern Italian.
And then you go to the other side up north, and you have a lot of people that are Yugoslavian and Italian, Czechoslovakian and Italian. And I think that, I've never done this, but from what I understand, my grandmother had some kind of Czechoslovakian roots. I don't know, or maybe maybe even further over in.
Is that your mom's mom or your dad's mom?
My dad's mom. No, my mom's from Ireland. That's a whole nother. That's where you get the fighting side of me. So I mean, the stuff is fascinating. I've only been over there once, and I was only there for a few minutes. So I really want to, at some point here pretty soon, in the not too distant future, go back.
Of course.
And my sister went a couple of years ago, and she actually went to the town that our family is from, which is Reggio Calabria. There's Reggio in Calabria. And so it was a pretty interesting place. I guess at some point, some people in my family were in some kind of political power there. I don't know exactly what it was. I've heard he was the mayor. I heard he was, the only thing I didn't hear, which I'm thankful for, is he wasn't the mafia captain, which he wasn't a capo. So that would have been, you don't want that. But it's very fascinating.
It's better to own a restaurant. Better, much better.
Yeah, you better feed them. Keep them fed, keep them friendly, keep them happy. Just let them go about their business, because the last thing you want to wind up is dead, because it really is the last thing you wind up.
Well, not only that, why bother yourself with all the nonsense and the brouhaha when you can have a nice meal? We're in Italy. What do you want to do? Let's eat. Period.
Well, in Italy, Michael, especially in Sicily, the one of the thoughts, the thought in America, if you're a fat guy and you can sing, women will still love you. If you got a good singing voice, you can be a big dude, man. Women will love you. Well, in Italy, especially Sicily, if you can cook, the mafia guys will love you. You open up a restaurant, they'll love you if you can cook.
Well, if you open up a restaurant in Italy and you can't cook, your days are numbered for a different reason.
Yeah, as Tucci shows, man, the cooking, the culinary stuff over there is just off the charts.
It is off the chart. Everything that he does, and I don't taste any of it, but I'm just living vicariously through him as he's getting this company that has like 20 different types of risotto, and they make them all on this farm in the north, and they run their operation out of a converted motel, and it's got a Michelin star, and there's two brothers do it, and they've been doing it all their lives. And their grandmother told them, "You're crazy. You're making rice. What do you think's going to happen to you? That's nothing. Everybody makes risotto. Everybody eats risotto. What makes you so special?" And they say, "Well, we got 20 different kinds over here. We're pretty special."
I bet you somebody said to Baskin and Robbins, "Hey."
Oh, and
everybody makes ice cream.
I wish I could remember the name of it, but they talked about a way to serve coffee in the north, in Turin. Everybody drinks it this way. It's coffee, chocolate, cream, and they're layered. And the chocolate is room temperature, the cream is cold, and the coffee, of course, is hot. And you're supposed to.
I've seen that. I can't remember what the name of it, but I've seen that in.
You sip it, so you get you get all three each sip.
Yeah, I've seen that in some Italian cafes in New York, in a couple of pastry shops. We get much more. See, the Northern Italians, a lot of them didn't stay. So I think the majority of, I may be wrong on this, I don't know, but I've always believed that the Northern Italians stayed. There was more power, more money up there. But the Southern Italians, because they were predominantly poor and predominantly subject to the mafia, left. They got out. They took off because they didn't see any opportunity to better themselves. So they saved up, they jumped on the boats. They got, one of them came to America, called for everybody else when they could get here. And
I think that's what worked the best. When your relatives got here, first thing they did was call home or write home and say, here's what you do. Here's what it's going to be like. But the opportunities are real, and it's not like this, and it's not like that. It's a whole new thing. So
Right.
come on over, and don't forget to bring Vito.
Right. I mean, I remember my father going, flying over there a couple of times to either meet family members or bring family members back that were still over there.
And of course,
Back in the early 60s.
People most happy to see them were the Irish, who looked at them and said, "Thank God you're here, you Italians. Now you're the dogs.
Yeah,
We've
really.
been the dogs long enough. Now we're going to be the cops and the firemen. Good luck to you on that one."
And let me tell you something, it was not pretty. I mean, even up until the 60s.
Oh no, it was outright vicious.
If you were an Irishman, you were a cop. If you were an Italian, you worked for sanitation. That's really, very few. Yeah, very few Italians became cops, maybe until the 50s.
Of course, now at that time, Vinnie, did anybody say, "I don't see how being a cop's going to work out for us in the long run"? Well, just wait.
Well,
Wait, we run the sanitation department. Who cares about that? Just wait.
that's exactly it. The Italians got into the sanitation department, and as much as the cops had a pad in every neighborhood,
right?
The sanitation guys made their money. They had their own little businesses. I remember when I was a kid, the sanitation truck, the house collection truck, pulling up to my father's gas station, and the guy dumping all the garbage in there. So my father didn't have to pay the carting, the commercial carting guys.
A friend of a friend.
You give him $10 or something like that a month or something like that. And they'd come by and they'd pick up his garbage. And
that's important. That's important to the efficient running of a monster city.
Yeah, they were doing okay, the garbage men. Plus, they all had businesses on the side where people would leave stuff out by the sidewalk. In those days, nobody rode around the streets like they do today looking for stuff that people leave out. They just would come and boom.
And it looks like a roadshow show on PBS. They're leaving Tiffany lamps out here on the sidewalk. What are you people crazy?
Oh, I never forget one time I saw a garbage truck driving down Northern Boulevard. He had like 3 bikes on in front of it.
What was I going to do? Leave them? I didn't want to leave them. That would be wrong.
I know where this guy's going. To the used bike store. But listen, the Italians knew how to hustle. They knew how to, make things happen. The Irish knew how to hustle a little bit more in a different way. And it was very interesting. It was, I don't know that it worked better. It worked worse. Right now, it seems like it worked a lot better.
Yes.
The Italians also got into the building inspectors, Department of Buildings. Was a lot of Italians and Jews got into the building department. And so they became, a lot of them became building inspectors. And that was one of the best jobs you could have in New York City.
One of the great stories that Meyer Lansky told was that when he was a kid, the way the power structure was for him on the Lower East Side was that the Jews and the Italians were subjected to the rule of the Irish cops.
Right.
And that drove them together.
Yeah. Yes. Most
and that alliance lasted through the generations. And it was just the way it was just the pecking order created the opportunity or the disadvantage that the Jews and the Italians were suffering it at the same time on the same streets on the same block. And so they said, let's play ball. And they did.
Well, the Jews and Italians are so similar in many ways. The mom, the guilty, the guilt dealing mom. The Italians got the same thing. Just so many of the traits of both. As a matter of fact, my father used to say that what was it? That a Jew is just an Italian with a cigar. And they always got along as business partners. My father had a couple of Jewish business partners through his life. And they always got along because they looked at the world. Well, they were persecuted people.
Yeah.
You can't, people forget, everybody talks about, and listen, there was not a genocide. And I don't mean to make any light of the Holocaust or anything like that, but the Jews were fairly well, the Italians were fairly well persecuted here, really more than anywhere else.
Lower East Side, as soon as they got off the boat.
Yeah. So that, yeah, there was a kinship that was formed between the two ethnic groups. And the only sad part of this is that the Italians should have and never did help the Jews in Germany. And the Italians and Mussolini and the Pope sat there and on their asses while Hitler exterminated millions.
If you remember, the real problem was the Rome had to make a deal with Berlin, or the Catholic Church was going to be outski for all of Germany. He said, here's how we're going to do the Catholic thing from now on. I'll tell you what to do. You guys jump, and you can have a thing on Sunday. How about that? The alternative is, you don't like that, I'll have the SS and the Gestapo shut it down. We'll take your gold, we'll take your property, we'll take your priests, we'll take your money, we'll take everything you got, and there'll be no Catholic Church. And I mean tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they said, well, hey, come on, we're men, we can make a deal here. And that's the deal they made.
I wouldn't have taken that deal. I said, shut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shut it down. The money, the property, the prestige, or whatever it is, doesn't mean,
But the Catholic Church and the Pope was used to making deals with European leaders.
Right.
Way back for centuries and centuries. We make a deal, we operate together, church and state.
Right. It's easy to sit here and say that now.
It is. But at the time, I'm not saying they knew what they were getting into, but that was the result.
Yeah. But it's a black mark on Italians. It's a black mark on the church. To me, it's always going to be something that. And listen, the church has enough black marks on it to completely obliterate it out. But that was inexcusable. But again, we're sitting here watching a modern day Holocaust, and what are we doing about it?
Well, one thing we've done is we've put ourselves in a position where we don't have the Stinger missiles anymore. They're making them in Georgia on the 24-hour shifts. So, and they better, because I think if we've seen anything about this war in Ukraine, Vinnie, we've seen how the next wars are going to be fought. It's going to be the insurgents have the advantage. The insurgents can take out a tank with something they carry over their shoulder. They can bring down planes from the back of a Jeep, and it's going to be mobile, fast, quick. And the invading army, the good old Russian model, walks into it every single time. The only thing they've got going for them right now is that artillery barrage, and we've got to figure out a way to answer it. But it's going to have to be answered in a way that we can fire until they're into their positions.
Well, today was an interesting day in that it was Victory Day over in Russia, and I guess they make a big deal out of that. So they have the big parade and everything.
They beat Hitler,
and I'm always not so sure they beat Hitler. I think Hitler beat himself.
Well, certainly not by themselves.
Yeah, certainly. I think Hitler just was more madman than anything else. I mean, if he wouldn't have gone to the Russian front, if he would have left that for later, he probably would have won the war.
And the Germans had to retreat from Moscow all the way back to Berlin, and they never got back. They picked them apart. They tore them to pieces.
Yeah. I mean, all of the battles that happened in cities that we're seeing now.
Yep.
I mean, we're people, they don't mention it much on the news, but you look at these these cities that you see now, and in 1944 and 43, 44, 45, the same thing was happening there. Except
Kyiv.
in
They were-
Kyiv, yeah, except the
Right.
Russians were, and the Germans were going at it.
Right, because the Nazis held Kyiv.
Poor freaking people, man. I mean, every generation.
Well, I found the Victory Day speeches were interesting because I thought we weren't supposed to mention the war. I thought Putin told everybody it's not a war. Don't call it a war. If you do call it a war, you go to jail. So what he says today is, hey, my war is going kind of great. It's not exactly what we thought. It's not this, it's not that, but we've accomplished so much. It's a wonderful victory to be celebrating and listening to on Victory Day. And the Russian people got to be saying, what war? What's he talking about?
Yeah,
Where are we at war?
Uncle Tanus said war, and he's doing a zip 5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think our boy Vladimir is losing his grip, and I don't mean that he's vulnerable to the point where something's going to happen this week, but I think his vulnerability and his inability to go in one direction. You know how the Russians like to go one place? We're going from here and we're going there. We're going in a straight line.
yeah.
Everybody behind me. Well, that's not the way the world works anymore. And Vladimir hasn't figured it out. So he's still trying desperately to go in a straight line from what he sees to what he wants. And he's never going to get there at this rate. It gets further, and his ideal of winning the war is further and further away each week.
Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, I don't see him taking the entire country anymore.
No.
I mean, I actually thought that he was going to declare victory today and say, all right, we've punished these people, we blew their country up, we've bombed the crap out of them, we've killed a bunch of them, and now we have a clear path. But the other side of that is they're never going to have a clear path.
No.
Because those people seem to me, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I don't see Russia like taking that crescent that they hold in the southeast Ukraine and keeping it.
In fact,
I don't know.
That would be just death to everyone involved, because all they got to do is say, okay, we got this part. This is Russia now. We've got this. Don't worry about it. We got it. We've got it. We've held it for weeks. Then,
It's
then
funny
slowly but surely the wheels will come off.
yeah, it's funny because it's not funny, but it's sad because they're changing signs. They're everything now. They're doing business in rubles. I mean, really, it really seems now. I don't know that he's going to stop there. I don't know what he's going to do. Now I saw an interesting take on this. At some point, I was reading something over the weekend, and somebody pointed out that this could stop tomorrow if NATO said that it would just not expand anymore. That it's, part of Putin's fears is that he is buttressed right up against NATO. Countries that were once his are now, as he sees it, the enemy.
Well, I think that's a little
I think it's a simplistic take, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right.
And I haven't gone back and read, because I guess there's been agreements throughout and stuff like that. And I really haven't gone back and familiarized myself with everything. And I should do that because I'm becoming more and more fascinated with it. But there's whether he has agreements or not, whether he has a problem with NATO or not being at his front door, why are you killing innocent people?
It's about the only thing he can do, to tell you the truth. And the idea of giving up on NATO doesn't make sense, because NATO is going to grow. Sweden and Finland are poised to get in there, which makes me say to Norway, are you even watching this? They're on both sides of you. What do you think, they're going to protect you? Hey, Norway.
Well, Norway has traditionally been a Russian, I mean, wasn't that not just a Russian, but they were one of the first ones with the Nazis, wanted to go with them.
The Quislings.
Quisling. That's I was trying to think of his name. Quisling was
Yeah,
one
they
of
made it. They thought they were making a deal with the right guy.
yeah. Well,
And
I mean,
remember, the small countries don't have to be invaded to be destabilized. Look at Moldova. It's only, what, 600,000 people, and the Russians are already bleeding into one of the provinces that's right there by Odessa.
yeah,
And so then the Baltic nations look at that and go, "Hey, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, you guys are no bigger than a postage stamp. It would take 30 minutes not to invade you and destroy you, just destabilize you enough so that you need help at your borders." And that could happen in 30 minutes. So they have to be members.
yeah. It's a crazy situation there, and it's really weird, Michael, because sometimes I feel like what we're looking at over there is what we're going to see over here at some point. Maybe we won't be around to see it. Maybe it'll be,
The Confederate States right again.
yeah, but maybe at some point, we will just look at this country and say, or people will look at this country and say, I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to be part of that.
And the Texans can finally say, we're not going to be Americans anymore. We've been reluctant all along, but now we're going to be Texans first. Just don't tell the Confederate States that.
Right.
Tell them we're in, but we're not really.
Well, and also, Michael, there's a movement. I don't know if you live there. You probably have heard of this, but I've seen and read about a movement of Hispanics to take back California. That we illegally took California from them.
I'm sure we did.
Yeah, it's hard not to believe that we didn't, right? And so they're saying, well, you know what? Now, I think once they get there and look around, they go, maybe we don't need this. But
I remember writing an editorial that said we would forgive the Mexican debt to the United States if Baja California just became the 51st state. And I said, it'll just be a straight change. We erase the debt. Baja California becomes an enterprise zone and the 51st state. And we're good. Okay, Mexico, we've had our ups and downs. We've had troubles at the border, but now you're free to assume a new financial future because you don't have to worry about the debt that you owe us. We're a better trading partner than we used to be. And now there's going to be a huge enterprise zone of Baja California, which is just this desert thing that we're going to populate with new cities, new industries, new ideas, all the power and security of the United States, and all the futuristic breakdown of the old Wild West, where we see what will blossom in an enterprise zone that allows everything to happen again. And I always thought that would have been a great idea. I don't know how the cartels would have taken it, but they'd have been smart to play along.
And the other thing too is now you give the Mexicans that are trying to get into the United States, now you give them, you say at some point that you open the border down there for any Mexican citizen that wants to come.
Whoever lives there now is a citizen.
Right, whoever lives there now is a citizen. And then once we have that number, then we open it up for other Mexicans to come. Of course, you're going to need workers. You're going to need people, right?
I think people are going to, first of all, you need a governor. You need 2 senators. You need representatives. Right. Whoa! Now you interested? Yeah. There's your power base.
Yeah. Yeah. If you could just get the cops to stop charging you to take you to the border, it'd be great.
We're going to have to talk to the Mexican cops now that
they work on that old New York system.
And Vinnie, I'm putting you in charge of that. I want them to watch a lot of Superman and Highway Patrol.
No. I saw my favorite Superman yesterday.
What was it?
My favorite episode of The Adventures of Superman. Superman, in what is probably the first laser surgery on record ever, helps this little girl who was blind in an auto accident to see again. And then he flies her around the world.
Wow. So she can see the whole world.
She wins a contest. The Daily Planet holds a contest. Why I want to go around the world with Superman. and she writes in, but she writes in and puts her mother's name on it because she wants to send her mother around the world. And Superman says, sorry, but that's not the deal. The deal is, and the daughter says, I hate Superman. I don't believe in Superman, Okay. I don't believe so. Clark
That's something Vinnie would never say. Vinnie will never say those words.
Clark Kent goes to the apartment, and while the mother is away, and he takes off his glasses, but he's still in his suit and his hat, and he says, well, Kathy, it's Superman. I don't believe you. And then he does a whole bunch of things. He takes her hands, he puts it on and bends the thing, and he says, whisper something, and he goes in the other room, and she whispers it soft. I want my mommy and daddy again. I want my daddy to live here, because the daddy was gone because of the auto accident. The husband and the wife blamed the husband for the accident, so they got into an argument. He took off. So in one fell swoop, Superman says, Clark Kent looks at her, Superman looks at her eyes, says, there's a piece of glass lodged in there. And the doctor says, how do you know that? We use the most powerful x-rays. He says, well, I happen to know an x-ray that's a little bit more powerful. And so he goes to the doctor and says, can I guide you with my x-ray vision? The doctor says, sure, Superman. And they roll her in, and he guides, and the doctor finds the piece of glass and takes it out, and little Kathy can see again. And I fly around the world, and the coolest little part, I always cry at this. I don't know why I do this, but I always start tearing up, is they're flying over the Danube, and Superman, with her in his arms, says, would you care to waltz? And they're doing a waltz while there's a screen of Berlin in the background, the Danube in the background.
Make it quick. We're going to be out of Austria, and they don't dance in Czechoslovakia like that.
Yeah, not like that. No, you got to put on a dress to dance in Czechoslovakia. But it's just this really cool. It's not criminals. It's not anything but, just kind of pure, good feeling kind of stuff,
Well, we were lucky that Superman came from a planet where he had learned to have a good heart, because with his powers and his abilities, he could have been an arch villain that no one could have gone up against.
Oh yeah.
And also he could have got a better job than working in the cheesy newspaper. But it wasn't so much the job that he liked. They had this closet.
Yeah, they had the store room.
And the store room was very important to Clark Kent. By the way, my question for you, because you're the authority on Superman, as we see him in the Adventures of Superman in black and white TV, what color was his suit in real life? Because it's sort of a gray orange. What color is Clark Kent's suit? It's not a real color.
It was a gray suit. I've actually seen one of the suits when I went to the Superman Museum in Metropolis, Illinois.
No.
Yes. Oh no. Without a doubt, man. I was within 100 miles of it. I could not go there.
Metropolis, Illinois.
Metropolis, Illinois is the Illinois or Indiana? Illinois, I think it is the home of the Superman Museum. And it's in a small town, and maybe they even renamed themselves Metropolis because of it. I don't know. I would have been Smallville, but there's a museum there, and you walk in, and there's everything Superman. And as you walk through, they have pieces of the set, histories of all the people, and they have one of the suits. Now the suits there's not many of them left, because George Reeves hated the suit so much that at the end of every season, he burned them.
Wow.
It was a tradition on the set that at the end of it, when they wrapped up the whatever it was at that time, 26 episodes, I think they did a year, or maybe it was 30 something. I don't know.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. And the suit was so scratchy, and so that there's actually pictures of him in a barbecue pit, burning the suit.
Wow.
And he burned. So there's not that many suits around And
Well, it's too bad they were scratchy. They should have called Robert Hall and got 2 pair of pants to go with it, and a cape.
well, Robert Hall sent the Clark Kent suit.
That's what I meant. Oh, you're talking about the Superman suit?
The Superman suit, yeah.
Well, I was talking about Clark Kent suit because it was such a weird color on television.
Oh, no. I don't know what color that was in reality. Yeah, because it always had like there was always like almost a pastel
Yes.
look to it in color. In the black and white ones, you can't tell, but it's probably the same suit. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I don't think he got, changed size all that much.
No.
I know he got bigger toward the last episodes when they thought it was going to be a wrap and that was going to be it for the series. But
it's harder to fly when you get bigger.
Well, yeah, you get older, and he had been hurt, I guess, several times on the set. He fell out of the trapeze once. The thing that they would lift him up and have him flying. Somehow he fell out of that thing, or unbuckled, or opened up, and somebody didn't put it. Did you ever see the movie Hollywoodland?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of it's in there. A lot of the history is in. There's a bunch of good books. There's also a couple of good websites where you can kind of go on and hear stories from people who worked on the set, who are mostly all gone now. I think Phyllis Coates may still be alive.
Who was she?
She was the first Lois Lane.
Oh, I got you.
Remember that they had 2 different Lois Lanes. They had the first one was Phyllis Coates, and
the second one always looked as if she should be saying hello to Bob Cummings. Hi, Bob.
Right. Noel Neal was the second one. Noel Neal was actually, yeah, she's still alive.
Good for her.
Yeah. Born January 15th, 1927.
And if you have anything to say very quietly, don't do it because she can hear you from about 3 rooms away when you whisper.
I always thought she was the hotter Lois Lane. I mean, I like Noel Neal, but Phyllis Coates had that. She had that sassy, I don't take crap from Superman.
She was this a funny street reporter in the let's see, who did she reminds me of? Oh, damn, I can't think of her name. The person who played Auntie Mame was always a saucy reporter. And
Carol Channing?
Starred opposite Cary Grant in the famous movie His Girl Friday. Auntie Mame, starring...
No, I'm thinking
I keep wanting to say Greer Garson. That's so wrong.
Not Lucille Ball. She did. I can't remember. Yeah, I always liked Phyllis Coates. I'm glad. Yeah, she must be the only surviving. Well, she's married to a doctor. Well, she was married to a doctor. Yeah, she was only in the first season, and she had a commitment to something else. And then
Rosalind Russell is her name.
Rosalind Russell, yes.
Sorry for that weird reference, but anyway, Rosalind Russell played a very snappy, quick-witted female reporter in New York opposite Cary Grant, and in the show His Girl Friday.
Yeah.
And it's on that character that I think the Lois Lane character could have been partially.
Funny, I always thought, and I wonder how the age would have worked. Maybe it was she was a little too old, but I always would have liked to have seen Barbara Stanwyck in that role.
Oh yes, Phyllis Diller.
She had that tough. Yeah, she had that tough Brooklyn kind of no nonsense when she, when she wanted to when she had to play that role. I always thought she would have been, but I think that's probably her age at that point probably wouldn't have matched up.
No. And she was busy doing film noir in LA at the same time.
Yeah, and fooling around with Robert Taylor, right?
I think that was Biff Jiggerman. Could have been Robert Taylor.
Hey, I would have fooled around with Barbara Stanwyck. You kidding me? Holy moly!
And if she was playing a nurse, it'd be even worse.
She could play. She could play nurse. She could play a soldier. She could play anything she wants.
Vinnie has a weaknesses for nurses, ladies and gentlemen, and it crops up here now and again, and you just can't get away from it because there's nurses everywhere.
Friday was my was National Nurses Day, and I posted my top 5 movie nurses and my top 5 television nurses.
And I saw a real nurse wrote in and said, where am I in the top 5?
That's my cousin. Yeah. I had to tell. I sent her a message. You're not on TV,
Yeah,
but you're number one in my heart.
And if you ever get a television show, let me know.
Let me know. We move you right to the top of the list. Well, it's funny because, we the number 1 TV nurse I put was Diane Carroll as Julia, which in 1965, when they put that show on the air, was unbelievable.
New territory.
A Black single mom working in a hospital with Lloyd Nolan, and a Black woman portrayed as a normal, regular citizen, as actually a competent equal to everybody else,
in the skilled
and in many
position.
cases, smarter than everybody else.
Right.
You didn't see that.
It was brand new territory.
Yeah, you never had said. I still remember that there were stations in the South that didn't want to play it.
No, because there was the theory that sooner or later she was going to start dating white guys, and we can't have that. And they were right.
Yeah. Well, Michael, it's been we went a lot of places in this show.
Well, we started off in Italy, and after we had a great meal, or 5 great meals, there was nothing to do but wander around, take a walk after dinner.
This was a history lesson, a geography lesson,
and a good
and Italian politics.
Something to remember when you need a good nurse. And remember, on black and white television, the suit is not always the color it appears to be. So I'm warning you again.
Right, and we now know what happened to Superman suits. Now I don't know. I'd have to go back and think now if they had a Clark Kent suit in the museum. I would think that there would be more of those available.
You'd have to have it because it was the same damn bulky suit every with padded shoulders in the 40s style, early 50s style.
Oh yeah, great suit, great double-breasted, reporter suit. And
when he's take off his glasses, that suit wasn't far behind.
Well, yeah, and it always, the hat was the thing, because the theory was the theory of Superman is that he takes his Clark Kent clothes off, super compresses them, and puts them in a pouch in his cape.
No, really?
Yeah. So I always wondered how the hat, got back to exactly where it was supposed to be.
Like, look at your hat. Jimmy Durante wouldn't wear a hat like that. What are you doing, Clark?
Yeah. They couldn't have kept Phyllis Coates on that show anyway, because she was smart enough. She would have figured Superman out in 1 season.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I watch that show and I know it's just like stupid as all hell, but I love it.
Hey, Clark, come with me. Where are we going? I want to show you the storeroom.
Yeah, but well, no, I mean, Clark walks out, Superman walks in. Superman walks out, Clark walks in. You never see both of them in the same place, except in one episode where there's a telethon going on, and Superman has to come, but Clark has to be there. So he says, I'm going to go grab a sandwich. And he goes out and he gets the security guard to sit in the seat he's supposed to sit in, eating a sandwich while he becomes Superman.
And
but everybody thinks it's Clark Kent.
That's how easy it is to fool America. And don't forget it.
Hey, it's a lot easier than that. There's a bunch of people running for governor in Georgia that say that Donald Trump won the election.
Oh, yeah, he won. Didn't you hear?
Yeah, I heard that, but I don't believe it.
He did not win in all states, unfortunately, but he won in many. And I think there's evidence of fraud. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't think there's any evidence of, well, no, I'm not going to say that because I'm sure somewhere along the line stuff, but I'll tell you what, I'll bet you in the final analysis is this election is taken apart and put back together again. There will be more Trump people who tampered with votes than Biden people.
And after the election, tampered with the equipment, tampered with the tallying machines, tampered with so many counties now have to buy completely different machines because they've been tampered with and are no longer accurate. Thanks to the grand old party.
Yeah, well, we'll have that to talk about for another day. Michael, it has been a fun show.
A good Monday. It was a Freaky Friday on a Monday.
Yeah. We kind of continued our Friday vein into Monday, but we actually had a ton of fun. We talked about Superman, and any day that we can talk about the Superman TV series, I'm a happy guy because I'm a happy guy.
Once again, the world authority on the adventures of Superman in black and white on television, starring George Reeves.
Oh, no, I'm not even close. There's a guy named Jim Knoll, I think his name is, or something like that. This guy knows everything.
Did he work for the Daily Planet?
No, he's just the biggest. He's written books. The one piece of information, the one holy grail of this whole thing that I'm going to do, and I was going to do it before COVID happened, and now that COVID's over, I'm going to retrace my steps and see if I can finally do this. And we've talked about this before. The 1952 Nash Healy that Clark Kent owned is in Michigan, supposedly. And I want to find that sucker and get my picture taken with it. That's the car I want to see. I'll never be able to buy it, but that's the car I want my picture taken with.
It's a stylish little two-seater, right?
A stylish little two-seater sports car from the Nash people with a,
it looks like a Sunbeam if you didn't know what it was and you couldn't quite put your finger on it.
Yeah, bigger though. It was much bigger than a Sunbeam. And the great part about it is that Clark Kent would wear his hat while he was driving that car, and the freaking hat would never come off.
It's a guarantee. Props.
It's a beautiful
wardrobe.
Actually, the car belonged to William Holden.
Really?
Yes, and Holden used to let him use it because I guess George and Holden were friends. So when they needed the car, they would call over, and Holden would send it, let him use the car.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So that, and then I guess he had it and sold it to somebody on the set of Superman. There's a whole history to the car. It's a fascinating, for me, I mean, it's,
they didn't make a lot of those. They didn't make a lot of those cars, did they?
I don't think so. No, I think they only ran, 52 and 53, because it was a Nash chassis, but the bodies, I believe, were made in England.
But it was a Metropolitan chassis?
But it was a Nash Metro. I don't know if it was a Metropolitan. It might have been the bigger sedan.
I know the one you mean.
Than the Metropolitan. Metropolitan was the small one.
Yes, tiny.
This was much more of a kind of a Corvette looking, that size kind of car.
God, I saw a white brand new Corvette didn't have its plates yet on the 101 out in the valley. Stunning. What a beautiful, stunning car. So low. I mean, the profile on the car is like, there's not, where are you going to put the driver? How'd you get in that thing? If
I could get in it.
It can be done.
They're just such beautiful cars, and I really love them in white. I mean, I'm just such a white Corvette fan. Yeah. I mean, I had a white Corvette for years, and
it was beautiful to see a new one, just immaculate.
Yeah, they're just such stunning. They're pieces of art.
Yes.
I mean, they truly are the best we can do in America. And I know so many people will say, well, it's this, it's that. No, it's really the height of what we can accomplish.
You know who I've seen in a Corvette twice? I don't know if he owns one or rents it or has it himself, but Paul McCartney drives a Corvette.
He seems to me to be like a vet guy.
Well, or anything else. What else do you want?
Mr. McCartney, I believe, could have all the Corvettes he wanted.
Would you like a Nash Healy? I would. Well, we're going to get you one.
We're gonna have you buy. If I ever win the lottery, like third on my list will be go make that guy an offer for that Nash Healy so I can park it in my garage.
That's a good way to spend your money, and I applaud that.
And maybe go to sleep at night just hugging the seat leather.
Where's Vinnie?
Yeah. He's in his room hugging the seat leather from the Healy.
And there with the Nash Healy.
Don't disturb him. No. Or maybe I would just get one of those off-colored suits and a pair of glasses and a hat and ride around town.
Where are you going? To the storeroom.
The storeroom. Where else? All right, Mikey. I'll see you on Wednesday, man. If the laws will and the creek don't rise.
It'll be a wacky, wonderful Wednesday.
Oh, could it be wackier than this?
No. Nope.
Peace, love, and Manischewitz, babe.
What a wine. See you, Ben.
See you, Mikey. Thank you all for listening.